Started.
Yes.
Today, Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, 4:30 p.m., Hammond City Council Chambers. Verification, call to order. Why's my brain? The meeting.
Yes, so we just did
Roll
that.
call. Yeah.
Okay, did you do the verification of meeting notice?
Do that first. Yeah, verification of meeting notice.
Posted on council chambers, our DDD office, and website.
All right, roll call.
Todd DeLon. John Extitius.
Here.
Mary Gito. Chelsea Kesnick. Chance Kinchin. Kaylee Norton. Here. Evan Singer.
Here.
Also, if you're able to speak into your mic, that's helpful. 'Cause
Here.
sometimes we have to cross-reference our recording to the one on YouTube.
All right. Next up, any amendments to the agenda we need to discuss? No.
No.
Welcome introductions, presentations. So we have Mr. Stan Damron here today. You want to come up? Welcome. I know. That's all right. It's a good thing.
It's been a long time since I've been at the DD board meeting.
Yes.
'Cause I used to be a member way back. And the last big project I did was the Columbia Theater.
What do you know? About time for another one, I guess.
That was funded through a lot of money from the state. John Hankel got us some money. And I was working at Guaranty Bank. I was senior VP and a senior lender. And they had ownership of the Columbia.
Mhm.
So Kathy Pittman says, you gotta get rid of the Columbia Theater. So it's been on our books for 10 years, we gotta write it off. We've been writing it down every year over that 10%. Said, because the only bid I have is a company wants to come in and tear it down for the bricks. And that's what they will do with it. So Sally Clausen, she was the president of Southeastern back then. We met in her dining room with John Hankel, Harry Vogt. John said, I can get you the money, but it's going to take forever. If it goes through facility planning, you'll be 3 years out before you can ever do anything, the time it gets funded. So I said, well, we can run it through the DDD and we do the construction and give it to the city, to Southeastern. Because Sally was looking for a new theater out there. He said, well, I can do that. So the money came through the DDD to redo the Columbia Theater, the way it is now.
Good thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are most appreciative.
Yeah. Now, this is another little project for downtown.
Also have some printed packets in your binder. I'll just
But
stand
it's
by
a-
here for right now, I guess.
Kansas Street crossing right across from Chuck Spangler's office, Spangler Engineering. We've been looking to do something here in Hammond for a while. And we decided to come up with this, brought it to the city, and the city was in agreement. The mortgage authority is funding the whole project, so we'll fund it. The city will take ownership of it after it's done, and they'll manage it through the DDD. Sure, yeah. More work for you. But this is kind of a period piece, ties back into the depot and the other improvements that have been along the track. It's open air. It's a metal structure, metal roof. It'll sit there for another 100 years. Inside, it's going to have some of these big fans like you see in some of the workout centers that you might go to, or some of the sports bars, to circulate air. It gets kind of hot in the summer, but it'll help that. We'll have lighting in it. lighting in it is there so you can use it at night. And it also has some night lighting that'll stay on every night. So when people park their cars there, you won't be in a big dark hole. We've also talked with the city, and we're going to put cameras in the facility so they can view it. It will go back through the police department. They have a number of cameras around town already. But it's should take about 6 to 8 months to build. Hopefully we can get it finished by the end of the year. The architect's drawn all the plans out, pretty well finalized shortly. We'll put it out for bid. The city will actually conduct the bid. In our cooperative endeavor agreement, they will manage the construction of it on a day-to-day basis. And then the architect we've hired, Paris, he will oversee the project. He'll have to prove all the draws that are made. There'll probably be draws made every 2 weeks, whatever stage of construction it is, and then we'll fund it because we have the money. Just waiting for this project to get started and just had to get the approvals. We've done some things in the city in the past, and we kind of got razooed on the money. So we drew up a real tight contract this time. So we make sure this gets done and gets done right. We don't want money diverted, going other places and downsize it or cutting back. But I think it'll be a good addition. They do have fencing around it in the back. It's getting a little hard to see. We wanted fencing along the railroad track. It's not real high, so you don't feel closed in. But when kids are there, farmer's market, and the mother's buying some produce, and they take off running, they can't run up on the track. So we tried to put stuff in there that will keep the people safe, but also be attractive to the city. It can be used for all kinds of events. Chili cook-off and stuff like that. Last 2 years, the Rotary Club, they had chili cook-offs, and it rained twice, each year. So those kind of events wouldn't work. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. You can have bands under it. You can even set tables up and serve some great food. Chance. For when they have graduation, you might have to put some tables up. But it can be used for a lot of things. It will still have a parking lot. So what we're going to do, if you look at that parking lot, they have some little fingers that were kind of made to plant a tree on. We're going to take all those out. We're going to close off the drive coming off Railroad Avenue into it. It's kind of in the middle of the parking lot. And unless you know it's there, you buy it before you can do it. You have to go down to Coleman. So you have to go down to Coleman turn to go into it. But we'll actually pick up 4 additional parking spaces from what's there now. Because some people had some concern we were taking all the parking away. Won't be doing that. Like I say, this would be the safest parking lot in Hammond, day or night.
I'm sure of this, but like the brick structures on the base, I'm sure that's all for hurricane.
No, it's really
or
aesthetic.
design
more than
aesthetic.
anything.
But is a hurricane
But it'd
been
be-
factored in?
Nah, that's the building. But it's a sturdy building, so it's built for that. But that's to make it a little more ornate.
Yeah, to
Aggressive.
kind of fit in with downtown.
And it's going to fit in with the rest of the bricks up along the,
Yes, sir. Okay.
be the same brick, so it'll match. And match what's already there at the Hanson crossing.
Yes, sir.
And as far as, I know it's an alternative spot for rain days for the farmer's market and whatnot, I'm sure.
They actually, yeah, I'll make you want to have them there all the time, probably.
Oh, well, yes. But so the plugs and that situation is all
That was
optimized for that?
Michelle, we had to go back to the architect, and we doubled the electrical going in it, because that's a big issue.
Yes.
We'll have water also.
Yes, I actually met with the electrical engineer, and we went ahead and talked about all the electrical plans. So it will be built out to better specifications than Railroad Park, and we'll have a dedicated area, I believe, on the south side for a musician setup, or I can't remember what side, but there will be there will be sub panels. Will be very practical.
Can this fit everybody, all the,
It can't
Can it-
fit all the vendors. It could fit all the vendors if they only had like one 6x6 table. But if you look at the site plan that you have in your packet, you'll see kind of like the parking spaces and the bays that are there. You kind of have to zoom in a little bit since
We don't have a plan in our packet. Not
you don't
in
have a
this
site plan.
packet,
Oh, I
no.
thought
It was in the,
It was in the email.
It was in the
Oh, got it. Well, you'll see kind of like up here, basically the way it's being constructed, there's these, columns, and we can fit basically two setups here. We won't have to fit like a 10 by 10 tent because it's already covered. So we can fit two vendors in each of these bays. And with spacing, we probably can fit like a row down the middle. So it would be like a modified setup for sure from how our vendors are used to operating. I think right now I see it as like a plan B location if it does rain. But we can definitely talk about other plans to utilize it for the market, maybe on a more regular basis as we get closer to construction.
And when I met with the mayor, Pete talked about going ahead and doing an expropriation on the grassy area to the south and building out another parking lot. And he envisions building another building just like this to get the funding. But this will, when you come into Hammond, you've got structure there that really lets you know you've arrived. You know, the way it is now, you get all the way downtown before you kind of realize you're
Kinda
here.
extends
Right,
the
well,
footprint.
and there's a welcome sign. The welcome sign is coming, which will be at the front of this block. So that's out for bids right now.
Good.
Not even after I looked at it last night. Now, would be probably after I'm dead, but if for some reason Hammond were to get into some type of like local transit system, you know, kind of like a Santa Barbara, Palm Beach, something type like that, like
Someone feels
this kind of
inspired from their
location.
travels.
Well, you know, I mean, you can always dream.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
I love the
So,
dream.
But like, that was what popped in my mind.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if you got this comment, but when people saw this rendering, they had asked me, when are we going to get a high-speed rail through Hammond? I
Yeah.
said, this is Amtrak's
That's a little futuristic.
model 50 years from now. But
Tom got a little carried away when he put the,
yeah, these renderings always look so perfect.
yeah.
But yeah, I think as we even future plans like you mentioned for this lot, I'm glad you brought that up because this green space between Hanson Crossing and Coleman has been something that the Downtown Development District Board has looked at for quite some time, and expropriating it is what needs to occur. So we're glad that that's able to take shape, hopefully, before Mayor Pinapinto finishes up his term, so he can finish that out. But like a trailhead or some sort, because we have the Tangy Trail as part of our master plan. So lots of opportunities for growth.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you getting us started.
All right. Glad to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley. Good to see you, sir.
All right, next up, approval of the minutes for March 27th, 2024.
One thing I did want to actually mention about the pavilion, the council did
Approve it.
approve them dissolving last night. And then you do have the project schedule. So the design committee he didn't put that on here, but the design committee will look at it or at our next meeting, which would be June, whatever that first Thursday of June is. So design committee will look at it and kind of get into more of maybe some of the construction and design details before they go out to bid.
I forgot, did we need a motion to approve the minutes or no?
Whatever y'all want to do. If it's easier to do a motion, we can do a motion.
Or I
Let's
can
do a
say, what is it I'm supposed to say if I just want to approve
If
them?
there are no
Th-
changes.
If there are no changes, does anybody see any changes need to be made?
No.
Okay, if not, then we accept the minutes as seen. I don't know what I'm supposed to say, but. All right, next one is minutes from April 17th, 2024. I mean, my name's spelled wrong in one of the spots, but I guess that's all right.
Oh, really?
It's all
We
right.
can correct it.
It doesn't really matter. I mean,
It does matter. What's your name?
under the consent agenda,
Under consent agenda?
B, there's
Ah,
a U in
yes,
my
yes,
name.
yes. Right.
The U that always gets put in my name. Does anybody see any corrections?
Yeah, we're fine. We can correct that.
Other than that, no.
All right, other than that, accept the minutes as seen for April 17th. All right, next, financial report.
Yes, we are 10 months in to our fiscal year. So you'll see our revenue has caught up underneath actual year-to-date column for April 2024. We actually did get, and I'm not quite sure how the journal entries are following, but we may have one or two more checks applied to this. So we'll cover our like millage adoption at our meeting in June, but I did get preliminary information from the assessor for our revenue for the upcoming fiscal year, and we will have a pretty substantial, we will have an increase, but it's not as substantial as I thought it was going to be. Projected to be around 397,000 for the upcoming fiscal year. I was anticipating on being a little bit higher, but we are tracking to be somewhere for this fiscal year between 380 to 390.
And what
So-
were you anticipating?
I was anticipating maybe like at least 50. Just from what I had heard from other millage authorities, but we don't have as much residential property, so that could be a reason why like commercial property movement, although there has been commercial property sales, because there are less comparable and less movement in our small area, the residential sales we wouldn't really see.
Yeah.
So that, I think that's probably a reason why.
Okay.
So we are, we're basically $129,000, I guess, above budget. We haven't spent $129,000 that we had allocated for this year. A big reason for that is the welcome sign contribution has not been withdrawn, and we have not had any sidewalk improvement. Well, while we've approved one, they may not be complete with it to withdraw those funds by the end of this fiscal year. So those two items combined would be 80,000. But with staffing and a few other changes, we are still looking at around 40,000 that we will not be spending more than likely. That's usually what happens. We over budget and we get more revenue than we think that we will because of how the nature of our taxing authority runs. So
Do you think you'll still have a transfer to the capital project? I guess, I'm looking at the last line item under general administrative expenses. It says transfer to capital, it's
Yes.
50,000 budget, so you think between now and the.
yes, one reason why it hasn't been pulled yet is because we did go out to bid for that project and it came back over bid, And we actually found out that we don't need to go out to bid for the project because it's under $250,000. So we will proceed looking at 3 quotes, or Roy Dufresh, the architect, will proceed with getting 3 quotes for the project, which actually is helpful because although the timeline has been delayed, they will be able to pull it for this fiscal year. So once that is pulled, you'll see that reflected in the actual column, or But they have, this month, they have a month to do so. So I'm pretty sure they will.
I make a motion to approve the financial.
Second.
Todd DeLon, John Exnicius,
Yes.
Mary Gito,
Yes.
Chelsea Kesnick, Chance Kinchin,
Yes.
Kaylee Norton,
Yes.
Evan Singer.
Yes.
All right. Director's report.
Yes. I think I kind of already updated you on the welcome sign and our millage items. As you more than likely remember, we did, Todd and I delivered a report to the administration with items that we were requesting that they look at and incorporate into their plans. Since that meeting, I know Todd's not here today, but Lacey Landrum, the city administrator, is resigning. Her last day will be sometime in June. She'll be finishing out this fiscal year. So there's kind of a lot of transition happening within the city right now, and I don't know all the details about if there will be another administrator, but I've been working with the department heads on and off basis just to kind of see where some things have gotten, how the information has been distributed to them. Nonetheless, I did have a meeting today with the streets department to kind of see a little bit more about how they plan and what they're budgeting for. Basically, as thought, if we want to see any streets restriped in downtown, we have to basically present a itemized list of blocks and areas of need to them. They're not, basically, we have to request specifically, we have to make a work plan and a scope of work of what we want to see in an area. So that's not impossible to do. I was anticipating that that would be more of a work item that the staff of the department would do. But if we want to see it done, I think that at this point in time, our best chances of seeing that it is done is by making their job as easy as possible and detailing out a work plan for street restriping. As suspected, the streets department does not handle our state highways, but when I asked further about how they do handle maintenance of our state highways, it appears that there hasn't been a lot of contact with DOT to relay areas that need to be maintained. So basically 190, so Thomas, Morris, and Cherry Street are really the biggest affected streets that any particular maintenance items, we have to do a similar thing of creating a sort of scope of work, delivering that making a proposal, working with the streets department, and then delivering that to our district DOT office. And this is mostly because there's no one in the city of Hammond coordinating transportation development. It is actually the charge underneath the streets department. When you look at their website, it says that they will coordinate with parish government and DOTD for transportation plans, but that has not happened for quite some time, and it became very clear to me that is not projected to happen. So if we want it to happen, we can make it happen. We just have to put some work into it and work diligently with the streets department head and the city planner as well.
So that's not a vacant position that they have that they're trying to fill? Or it's
No.
No?
It's not. In fact, basically, it's unlikely that any position that is not currently filled, more than likely will go unfilled, just because the budget for the upcoming fiscal year is a little bit less than it has been in years past due to sales tax decline. It's not by too much. I think it's around, I don't even think it went over $1 million, but I mean, still, for their budget, they are experiencing less revenue. Yeah. So anyway, we can. Robert Williams is the streets department head. He's very open to working with us. So it's just going to require a little bit more diligent effort on our part to get things happening.
I would be happy to drive around and make a list
Yes.
and give it to you.
Yes. We did talk about the post office striping. I'm just like, perfect example, something we want to see all around downtown. One thing that they did not do on that street, though, was actually stripe the arrows, because I know that that's a big thing. And I asked him about that, and he said that their machine didn't quite have the thing for the arrows. So, but they can do lines.
Yeah, the arrows would be the most important thing so people know which way to drive. But are they working on getting the thing for the machine?
I think that has to be contracted out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I am not deflated. We are
Enjoy your
inflated
spirit.
with a new sense of direction. Yeah.
I'll make sure the arrows are on the top of my list. I'll
Okay.
give you my list.
Perfect.
They can figure that out on their end.
Did the arrows the last time.
Yeah, I'm attending there's the budget hearing for all department budgets will be on Friday, January 7th. Usually I only go for the DD's portion, but when I asked the streets department what was in their budget, he couldn't quite answer that question. So I will go make myself available at the budget hearing so I can understand really what are they planning for in terms of street improvements and sidewalk improvements for the upcoming fiscal year, so we can. That was a big takeaway from the meeting with the mayor and Lacey, is we would love to put items in our budget to complement the efforts, but if we don't know what they're planning, it makes it hard for us to plan. So really, we need to know what they're doing so we can complement it versus the other way around, where they said, well, you need a budget for it. It's like, you can't really budget for it if you don't know if you're not budgeting for it. So constant item there, but that's okay. I think other items that you may see popping up around town, there's a couple of beautification projects that are underway. I'm trying to get a good idea about the scope of work that's happening and kind of the timelines on some of those. I've requested that. I haven't gotten that. So you may have seen like some bushes removed. Things are happening. And I think it's all going to move in a good direction right now. I just don't have all the plans in hand. One item related to trash in downtown. The grants department is submitting a grant through Keep Louisiana Beautiful to purchase more trash cans so that we can have more trash cans on each block, at least along Thomas, starting out. It is difficult to increase the servicing of those cans because they're currently picked up on Tuesday and Friday. The waste management company doesn't work on Saturday or Sunday. So basically, if we want to not have overflowing trash cans, we have to either we have to contract with someone to service them on Saturday, or we just buy more trash cans to store more trash. Yeah. And the liners as well, the grant will pay for that. So we will see. I mean, traditionally, the grants are pretty easy to get, so I anticipate that we will get them, but I'll give you guys some updates once we.
Hey, what about like the jail people and stuff when they clean up? Is there a way to partner with partner with people to do that? I don't know,
Yeah, I think with our, basically that would be someone having to coordinate a volunteer activity every Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think that the will of the people is there to do that. And they don't put, it's just a liner, so like the whole liner gets dumped into the trash truck. So we'd have to have a truck that could
Take it.
carry the
Yeah.
trash. It requires some logistics and coordination, but all of our signage requests and striping, I think that we can make great progress on them. We just have to be a little bit more diligent. So.
All right, that's everything?
Obviously we have Dara as a part of the team now. She joined us on May 2nd. Do you want to say hi? Yes, in a very formal way. I was out of town last week, so she basically started on a Thursday. chaos, and then I was gone all of last week. So she's been a trooper in helping us get some things done. But now that I am not going to be out of town, we'll be able to get her trained up, and Ashley will be starting on Monday. So I'm excited to concentrate some time into doing that. Our office will be closed on May 27th for Memorial Day. Just some other bits in there. And there's some events in there and some other property movement. But other than that,
So did the 40th anniversary event got moved from the 22nd to the 23rd, correct?
yes,
Okay.
yes, it did. So it's going to be next Thursday, the 23rd. If any of your businesses or community partners would like to participate with a tent, please do that. Please let us know. Please sign up for it. The reason for the move was because it was the day of North Shore Tech's graduation, and we weren't going to be able to close the street, and logistically it was going to be kind of a mess without having more space. So that was kind of our next best option. However, Chief Bergeron did inform me that there's a chief ceremony, a police ceremony on the 23rd at the same time, and I asked him a couple of times how that affects this, and he did not respond to me. So we are proceeding as if business as usual. But yeah, we're really excited for the celebration. We actually did get a open container waiver last night, so that we have these cups, which we didn't really print out that for y'all, but we will have cups available, plastic cups at the celebration, and we do plan on giving the restaurants and everyone selling beverages like a limited amount of cups, so they can do like a promotion day of if they want to, and kind of like drum up some excitement. That was an idea that Chelsea had. And so yeah, if people want to get alcohol, they can. They just have to go to a business. We just won't have alcohol there. And then there's updates from Savannah for the farmers market. You'll kind of see some of the numbers reflected here for programming that we've done throughout the month of April, and her guideline update, kind of goals and getting everyone contacted. We did open applications up on Monday, on May 6th, because the Farmers Market Committee did approve them, and the Board of Directors will officially approve them tonight. But we've had a lot of interest. So if anyone says that the requirements that we're asking are overly they're too much. They're obviously not, because people still want to come visit our market, and I think it's putting us in a better direction to have higher quality vendors and allow those people to scale their businesses. We also did do a customer count on the day of Strawberry Fest, which may have not been the best day to do a customer count, but Savannah kind of didn't think about that. We still counted over 1,000 patrons at the market the same weekend as Strawberry Fest. So we are doing quarterly customer counts just so we have an idea about that. And there's other information there which you're welcome to look at and ask questions about.
Do we have like what's considered a good day? Like what's a really high traffic day? Is 1,000 kind of?
For customers?
Yeah.
Last May we did it, and it was a regular day. We haven't had the capacity to do to take customer count on an event day, or like a bigger market event day, just because our volunteers are put into other places. But last year in May we had like 1,200, and that was basically nothing additional being programmed or advertised. So when we have, and we can like visually see that there's more people around. So we're always looking at around like over 1,000. So it's pretty good foot traffic. Yeah. Okay, and then, I guess that's all for me for director's report.
Okay. Are you going to be doing the mayor report? Is there anything?
Yes, basically I was just going to let you know we don't have a city administrator, so we'll see how that works out.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, and we haven't been able to have a consistent meeting schedule with the administration. I've kind of put Todd in charge of that, so hopefully we'll be able to maintain a meeting with the mayor. as Lacey transitions away, so we'll just keep you updated.
Okay.
When is the election for that seat?
It will be in fall of 2026. And the new mayor will take post 2027. It'll be council and mayoral. So it'll be an interesting time.
All right. Next up, Chance, what you got for the chamber?
Yeah, the biggest thing, we are close to, actually, the deadline for the restaurants slash businesses, is not just restaurants, for the passport, was, yesterday or Monday, but we bled it into yesterday. We were at 44 participating businesses, that are gonna be with the passport. It's going to print. North Shore Media's handling the printing for us. It's gonna start on June 12th. The plan is for it right now to run through the end of August, even though that date hasn't been hardlined. We had our second quarter restaurant roundtable meeting last Thursday morning, and for some reason, we couldn't get that slammed down. But I think it's gonna be a big success, as long as we can make sure all the businesses that are participating continuously promote it. Each business is gonna be given a stamp with whatever they require for it to get a stamp from their business. And then there's gonna be raffles for gift cards for the people that participate. There's gonna be drop-off points on both ends of the parish and of course at the chamber office. And if anybody requests a we can mail it to them too, so. That we're gonna have 2,000 of those passports printed. It's gonna look like an actual passport. So, we're really excited about it. It's gonna be our first year. We're probably gonna learn a lot this year from it to improve for next year. But I was very proud of being able to get that done in the window that we were able to do that. So that's the biggest report. And one last thing from that, we're reaching out to people, trying to get them to participate. We've acquired a handful of new members to the chamber for the parish, so.
That's great.
so.
All right. Committee reports. Kaylee?
Okay, so we have been doing a lot of work for the rebrand or the brand strategy of downtown. And so the committee has met. We had a special group from the committee that were chosen to kind of give particular insights so that we could really be productive and effective in what we were trying to do. But overall, if you, in the packet, there's a rebrand timeline, which kind of, Michelle and I figured because it's kind of a lot to digest, to put a timeline together so that everyone can see where we are and where things are headed over the course of the year. But overall, this entire project is going to polish any untied loose ends, basically, with the branding, and just really make it more cohesive in terms of communication internally and externally, and the way that we present information to the community and interact with the community in terms of the brand of downtown Hammond. So next month, we plan on having a nice little presentation for you guys to show y'all what we've been working on. But we are in stage 1, and it's 3 stages of this project. So stage 1 was really breaking down the brand of downtown Hammond and what our goals are, and who we're speaking to. And so we are in the stages of getting back those visuals from LA for that, and then we'll move into stage 2, which is really going to make it all make sense. We will get a kind of a game plan and a mapping for how to implement the brand into social media and press releases and newsletters, and we're going to have templates that staff can just use. And so say it's something that's geared towards businesses, there will be templates for social media and that type of correspondence. So everything will be more in a centralized hub rather than kind of multiple different places. And I think that will help an overall strategy moving forward, because we'll be able to understand, where we are. And I think the community will be able to really be involved and see how they have impacted this whole branding project. And then we have we're hoping to have a small interactive state set up at the anniversary party next week, where we can get some tiny community feedback on how is Hammond worth it to you, where people can write how Hammond is worth it to them, and that will be a really cool part of the final presentation. So based on this timeline, this is not set in stone, but what we're thinking is we would like to do like a formal unveiling to the community with Hot August, with that whole event, and then a further interactive community exhibit type of thing that ties it all in. But I think it's going to be really cool. I think it's going to take Hammond to the next level in a lot of ways, and I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, we kind of struggled, because we want to share a lot with y'all at this stage, but we are kind of fine-tuning a lot of the stuff this Friday with her, so June will just give us a little bit more time to make sure that that everything is kind of where we want it to be. But we also want to keep in mind that if we do have feedback from the board, that we're able to incorporate that too. And so hopefully, as we kind of progress through this, it's like it has been a lot of work. Like it may not look like it, but it has been a lot of using our brains and thinking about organizationally, how do we optimize to do this? Because not only is it a rebrand, but it's moving our organization in a direction of doing destination marketing for Hammond, which is a whole other area of work that we have not done. And now that we have an additional full-time staff member, I don't know if you missed that, Evan, we have 3 full-time staff members, but that we appropriately budgeted for. Yes.
I'm going for a meeting and tripling in size.
It was a quick decision. Not that it was quickly done and it was poorly quickly done, but it was a good decision done on a quick time frame. I just think as we have all these pieces kind of coming together, even though they may feel a little bit segmented right now, it'll all come to a point of clarity, and I'm excited for it. So.
Yeah, and just one more thing to add. Michelle and I, why it's hard to explain, we've been really meeting for many hours and getting down to the nitty gritty of some things that don't even relate to, at first glance to branding, but how can we make sure that the branding is going to make this all flow and we're not going to have further problems down the road. So we're really trying to hammer out those things too.
All of our systems. So looking forward to June. Yes, June.
Awesome.
Are we still having a meeting on normal schedule
Yeah.
since it's a holiday?
In June? Is it? Is it the day of Juneteenth? Oh, I didn't think about that. Thank you for mentioning that. Because technically our office is closed. And technically we should not meet.
Technically. Just
I can look into that and I'll send an email about it.
Okay, if we could not move it to the 20th, I will not be here the 20th. We'll do it on
I'll be here the 19th.
I'll be here the night.
We'll decide that via email.
Heard that via email.
What was that?
Heard that.
Yeah.
That's restaurant terminal, sorry.
Because if we can meet, then we can meet. But if we can't meet, then we
Then
can't.
we can't meet.
Thank you for clarifying, Michelle.
Wow. Hey,
Although we are supposed to be off, so staffing wise, it makes it difficult. So anyway, we'll revisit that via email.
All right, next up, Design Committee, Mary, what you got?
Yep, so we had our design committee meeting on May 2nd. There wasn't anything major. We did talk about the Hammond welcome sign, which Michelle kind of mentioned. Apparently it was brought to the city council to reject the original bid so that they could go out for quotes, and that did not get done at the last city council meeting. So that was getting done at this month's city council meeting.
Yesterday.
Did that
Did
get
get done.
done?
Yes, it
Okay,
did.
so now they're able to go solicit the 3 quotes, which he's got people in line to do that. So hopefully we'll get that soon and be able to move forward with that. We did talk about the Railroad Park plaque for Marguerite Walter. Roy Dufresh had a quote on, he had not gotten a quote on the letters, although he had a rendering on the dimensional letters that would kind of hang from at the top, which looked really nice. And then he had a quote on the actual plaque, which was more than the money they've raised. So he's going to go back, and we talked about using a different material that was less expensive. It doesn't need to be bronze. Using a different material, making it a little smaller, something that would maybe be a little more complimentary but not match the other large bronze plaque. So that's kind of in the works. We don't really have a completion date on that because we've got to get the
And where's that going to be put?
pricing. The dimensional letters will be from the top of the stage at Railroad Park. You know, it's got kind of that metal grill work. It'll kind of hang from that.
I have some renderings.
You have those, yeah. There you go. Well, it's hard to see in this.
I can turn the light
Yeah,
off.
you can kind of see. You kind of towards the back. And we talked about the plaque. There you go. Potentially going on the bottom on that brick face, but we haven't really decided where exactly the plaque would go. It's smaller than the one that over on the side that says Railroad Park. We talked about maybe making the plaque out of the same material as the history panels, which is
a
like
lot
an
more
acrylic.
affordable.
It's a
Yeah.
lot more affordable. And then I think it wouldn't take away from the main Railroad Park plaque. So he's looking into that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of it. We talked to, well, we're going to talk about it later, but the facade grant, which we'll talk about later, we had a presentation on that. And that was it. There was nothing else crazy happening right now.
All right. Next up, Events Committee. Do you have anything for Events Committee that?
Yes. So obviously Thursday, May 23rd is our Main Street celebration. The full scope is as follows. It will be from 4:30 to 6:30, which people have come to me and they've been complaining about the time, whatever. We will have a Swing 101 band, 19-piece band. Some will be set up on the stage and around the stage. And we have at least probably 12 businesses signed up. You remember how many are on the spreadsheet? 11, yeah, somewhere, and I think some people signed up today. So we have some organizational partners and businesses signed up to participate in that. We'll have a tent out there. The chamber will have a tent out there. If you haven't signed up yet, please do so by the end of the week so that we can assign spaces and make sure that everything's good to go. Businesses can sell food. They don't have to just give stuff away. And we'd like some food. I can't remember who the list is right now off the top of my head, but we would like some people selling food. So I'm planning to look at that tomorrow. But we will have a history punch wall, which is a fun thing where basically we're getting this. Do you know what a punch wall is?
No.
Okay, no one ever knows what a punch wall is. Basically, it's this structure that is used a lot at weddings, but
Oh, yeah, where the glasses are?
yeah, well, it's not a champagne wall, but it's like you basically can put prizes in here and
Oh,
people
yeah.
can punch it. But we did a small version of this at Strawberry Jubilee, and we did history clues that kind of tied into the history exhibit panels that we have in the park. And the students at Southeastern really loved it, and they learned a lot about Hammond's history. And we had certain, we did a Jeopardy history punch wall. It was super fun. So we will be doing that, and we'll be doing a toast to downtown midway through the event, and we'll keep remarks kind of light and casual, just because we don't want to, have overly formal kind of remarks. But we'll be doing a toast to downtown, and we will have the mayor speaking, either Jeffrey Smith or Michael Hawley speaking. And then I am waiting to see if Paul Murphy is able to speak, since he was kind of the godfather of the DDD. What? Yes, we do. I want to get him to speak. He might be in Costa Rica. I feel like he's in Costa Rica every other time I talk to him. So hopefully we'll get some confirmation from him. But like I said, we'll have the cups, and they say Main Street 40 years, so it'll be super fun for that too. And overall, just trying to spread the word, have your families, friends come out to enjoy the celebration. If you do have employees that you would like to bring to the celebration, it's a perfect after-work camaraderie builder.
We've
So,
invited our entire office.
There you
love
go.
it.
Also, just to add to that, we are hoping to Hot August to be a piggyback in terms of reminding people it's still the 40th anniversary, and we just celebrating that through Hot August and bringing some things along with us in a few months.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of Hot August, you'll kind of see where how the map is looking right now. Chief Bergeron is not in favor of us closing any intersections, really. And that affects a couple of things, but I think overall our layout from last year is still workable. We are moving around some of the times of our activities, like the Kids Zone is going to not be in the evening. We've moved it to the morning with LCDC, and it may be a little bit scaled down just because the street closures really, if we're not going to be like kind of layering all this other programming, they don't really need the street closed. They can kind of host activities in their parking lot. There'll still be activity happening kind of on the blocks of Charles because we'll have wine and cheese stops over there. But overall, the layout is looking fairly similar. You can kind of see the layout of the rundown of the schedule over to the side. Looks like we have a little bit of a typo there, but we have just been continuing conversations to make sure that the schedule and the layout is workable. One item that I will mention is the hot air balloon. So we will have a air balloon feature at the event. It will be a stationary balloon, and we will probably be stationing it at Kate Square Park, and it will be up during the same time as the musical act at the main stage. Prior to the whole hot air balloon discussion, wasn't clearly communicated that the hot air balloon can really only go up early in the morning from like 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. or in the evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it's not feasible for the hot air balloon to be up during the day, but it still will be a really cool visual element. And it's a hot air balloon, and it's hot August. Yeah, the temperature and wind. I don't know anything about wind, but wind speeds are lesser, like not in like the middle of the day. So.
Unless there's a hurricane, there's no wind in August.
Yeah. So obviously, regardless, the air balloon is weather dependent. So that's been an interesting addition to kind of consider. But this is kind of how everything is looking. Another item, which I know we've talked about in the past, is selling vendor spaces, allowing food trucks, etc. We talked about vendors we will be selling some vendor spaces, but we will be making them available to artists. So, and we talked a little bit about this with the merchant meeting, not this month because I wasn't there, but the month prior.
It kind of got discussed
Yeah.
a little bit again, but not to the depth.
Yeah, so we'll still be having artists paired with businesses if they would like. They can set up inside or outside, and then if neither of those options are working for artists, we still want to lean into the local art component of the event and offer them a place to set up with a tent if they would like. So we'll be selling those spaces and collaborating with the Art Center on advertising that opportunity. We will still do tents for beverages and food for any in-district business that may not be within walking distance, and kind of like on a selection basis, unless you have other feedback that you'd like to provide about direction and soliciting vendors. So that's kind of how everything's looking.
All right, and we'll be charging them for their space too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for in-district.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next up, Mead Farmers Market. Really the main thing is that we adopted the new rules, kind of updating us and getting us into 2024 with all the other markets in the world. Is there anything else you want to elaborate on that, I guess, Michelle?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Is there any blowback from any of the vendors or
No.
not discussable?
I mean, at this point in time, we've been talking about it for 7 months. And Savannah has reached out to every vendor. We've really only had one vendor not interact with us at all about the requirements, and there are other reasons why that person is not looking to further establish their business.
Hard to-
So for some of we are working diligently with all types of vendors and different ages and positions with where their business is at, and we have presented all of them with options, but it is ultimately up to them to decide if that's something that they want to do. And so far, we've only had one decide to do none of it.
Do we have an inclination that some will drop out? Do you think we're going to have a dropout?
Honestly, I mean, there may be like a handful, but overall,
Should be fine.
most of them had said, this is something that I've been needing to do.
Mhm.
I know I've been needing to do it, but I've just been putting it off because no one's required me to do it.
Okay. All right. Merchant committee, Chance?
So we had our merchant meeting last Thursday morning. We started out with Kimberly came by. She works for the Department of Health, and she talked about the Well Ahead program, which is basically a nutrition-based kind of program. But it involves allergies, all spectrums of today's eating society. We did get a little bit of positive feedback for some people. I know we're signed up for it already. I think we're already level 2. There's 3 levels that you can do. I think it's in reverse order. I think 1's the highest.
Yeah.
But we're going to try to share it throughout and to see if we can get some other business involved. It was a brief meeting with that, and then we kind of went over the stuff we just talked about with the Hot August Stroll. We just kind of going through that, and I actually had the passport meeting that morning right before that meeting, so they were brought up to date with everything I shared with y'all from that. So outside of that, just still focusing on, whatever aspects any other committees need from the Merchants Committee, everybody's willing to participate, even if it's not in person. As a committee, we're willing to help other committees with what they need, especially for the larger events that we have.
Yeah, and one thing that was on the agenda that didn't end up happening was communication with North Lake Homeless Coalition, which, if you haven't followed the potentially contentious development of a resource for our homeless population, they did purchase a hotel. They're kind of with planning and zoning right now of the use of the property and access to the property, but they are a local organization. They have had an office in Hammond for quite some time. And so I think the next meeting, she said that they were available to come to that next meeting to just have a discussion about some of the issues that we do have with the homeless population in downtown, and seeing, ultimately, how do we work as a community to build towards a better solution with this problem. It's something that we handle often, and at least as it relates to River Park in a public space and maintaining a public space, and keeping it, looking nice and well maintained. Not that we've ever had any, well, I guess we've had one pretty bad issue, but overall, ultimately there's a lot of people in our community that need help, and how we can work together to kind of work towards solutions with that. Maybe they can be a part of it. I'm not totally sure. It seems like pretty contentious with what they're trying to do, but I do know firsthand that it's not like a walk-up homeless shelter. It's a wraparound services facility where families or individuals would only be able to live at the facility if they are making effort towards, health appointments, job searching, really striving towards independence, I think is their scope. So we'll see kind of how that kind of shakes out. And if they're able to talk to our merchants, I mean, a lot of them have a lot of firsthand experience with the challenges that are presented with, getting that problem solved. So we'll see.
They bought a hotel?
Yes, they bought a vacant hotel near I-55.
I think the main
Belmont.
issue is that they don't have parking. They bought the hotel not having parking, so to get zoning for what they're trying to do, they don't own any of the parking around them or something, right?
It's the parcels around them were a shared use agreement with it when it was a hotel with other property owners. So they technically have parking, but they they cannot access their property using of the current roadways.
What hotel is it?
I believe it's the Belmont. I don't know what part. It's where Punjabi Dhaba has been working. It's not that site, but it's the site next door.
Yeah, but next to the old, well, it used to be the Holiday Inn, but, huh,
Yeah, it's
interesting.
in this vicinity over here.
As long as we're not voting
So as far as issues in the park, we've had a lot of them? I didn't even really know that. I mean,
I mean, we had a pretty bad issue last year.
I mean, just people just hanging out there all day and not leaving?
I mean, it's no problem that they're hanging out and enjoying the space. I think if they are leaving trash and other
paraphernalia.
items,
Paraphernalia.
that's the problem. And we have to clean that up.
Yeah,
I had to clean it up.
gotcha.
Michelle, I'm sorry, where's the hotel?
I'm trying to find it right now. It's,
Across from Don's.
oh, I'm on the other side.
Where they're
Sorry, I need to-
doing where
The one across the street.
well, that one, but the old landmark with the older one next
Right,
to it.
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Unfortunately, I have to leave here in a second.
That's okay.
Is there
I'm
anything
trying to
that?
find it. It's on the other side. It's on this side of town. For some reason, I'm on the other side.
Do we have anything for the residential for Todd to report?
No, the next meeting will be in June.
Okay. Any old business? None. New business? Approval to purchase picnic tables for Railroad Park?
Yes, so you'll see in your packet, this has been a long time coming, I guess. Initially, whenever we decided to get picnic tables in the park, we were going to do sponsorships. However, the type of picnic table that is available and the advertisement of a campaign for a sponsorship would be meaning that these picnic tables we would be looking at, because the price of them alone is around $3,000 in terms of installation, the plaque, and etc. We'd be looking at a cost of around like $5,500, which is a pretty big amount for a picnic table. So here's my idea. We have budget to pay for them this fiscal year, and I do see that we can either do one of two things. Since we get the picnic tables, it'll be more like digestible that they're here, and we can still work with a separate company other than Landscape Forms to have plaques to dedicate them, because that's been a big part of the sponsorship, is that if they're going to sponsor it, they want it to be recognized in the space. For example, the plaques from Landscape Forms for the benches alone they're like this small, but they were like $1,200.
I mean, I don't know if this is just an unpopular opinion, but there's so many freaking plaques.
I know.
I think it's probably,
Yeah,
once you're plaquing up everything, it takes away from the plaque.
yeah,
there.
I agree. I
Right.
think if we have a budget for it and we need to have landscape forums, that's the only, that's what's gonna hold up.
Yes.
I think if we have the budget for it, that we
pay
need
for
to
them.
do it. So could I make a motion that we approve this?
Well, I was going to say, just
Expenditure.
out of due diligence, we are required to get 3 quotes. Sitescapes was one, and Victor Stanley is another. However, they did not have the specifications that we needed for it. So
And these are gonna be anchored down.
they're actually not. So the perk of these is that they're one unit and they're heavy enough so that, because we still need some flexibility with moving the picnic tables for events and whatnot. So they're heavy enough that they're not going to go anywhere, but we have,
Are you sure?
I mean, the
Have you
ones that we
ever-
have so far, like they haven't moved. So,
I'm just throwing out there,
yeah.
Where there's a will, there's always a way, though.
midnight fraternity party.
Yeah.
I mean,
If we,
just-
if we need to anchor them, we have the ability to surface mount them.
Okay.
It has the hardware to do that.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. And,
I've seen stupider things done.
yeah. But we don't have to if we don't want to. So it's an option. And building department is familiar with surface mounting these two so that we wouldn't have to hire an additional person to install them and mount them if we wanted. So anyway, this is our best pick. The gray poly site material stays cooler than like the black, like a metal black wood anyway, because they're basically in the sun the whole time. So the material, the top material, the gray poly site has longevity, and it also will not be very hot like the benches are now.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to accept this.
Yes.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a second from
Chance.
Chance. Sorry, move my stuff around. Todd DeLon, John Exnicius.
Yes.
Mary Gito.
Yes.
Chelsea Kesnick. Chance Kinchin.
Yes.
Haley Norton.
Yes.
Evan Singer.
Yes.
All right, next up is the approval of the revisions to the Hammond Farmers Market. An artisan market.
There you go. You did artisans.
I know.
Basically, all the guidelines are in here for your reference. We've talked about them time and time again. If you want to get the nuts and bolts of it, you can look at page 3 of our new requirements. And
Michelle, we're good without him as far as the quorum.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, we're good. We have 4. Thank you. We're almost done.
cool. Later.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Yeah. You take care. If you would like for me to explain this, I can.
I think we've gone over it a
Yeah.
lot of times.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second the motion.
Todd DeLon, John Exnicius.
Yes.
Mary Gito.
Yes.
Chelsea Kesnick. Chance Kinchin. Kaylee Norton.
Yes.
Evan Singer.
All right, and last up, we have approval for a facade grant for 400 Northwest Railroad Avenue.
Yes, I did not print out the full thing just because it's a lot of paper. Mary, do you want to
Yeah.
give an overview?
So this is the chamber office. It's the train depot. And they basically spent $47,000 repairing the mortar. And because it's an historic building, they actually, and you could see it in the pictures, they actually had the company come and match, because the mortar is different colors in different areas. They actually had it matched in the different areas so that it would look authentic. And so they cleaned and repaired the mortar. There were lots of holes. They did some patching where needed. And so the design committee reviewed it and voted to approve it. The grant that they're requesting is $2,000. They've spent $47,000 on it. It's one of our most iconic buildings, so I think they've done a good job of taking care of it.
Yeah.
And so that was the request, so.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Todd DeLon, John Exnicius.
Yes.
Mary Gito.
Yes.
Chelsea Kesnick. Chance Kinchin. Kaylee Norton.
Yes.
Evan Singer.
All right, do we have any announcements?
Anyone have any announcements? Oh, one thing I actually wanted to ask Chamber about was apparently Amtrak is getting some money to renovate their portion of the train depot.
Their little portion, okay.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask about that. I didn't know if you heard about that.
I have not heard about that.
Okay. It's through some of the, like, transportation funding. So I don't know. We'll see what that looks like. I didn't know if that was, like, worked into their scope of work, but another time.
I haven't heard, but I'll ask.
All right, any public comments? I'm guessing not. So call the meeting to be adjourned, if everybody's good with that.
Yep.
I saw that was your niece at the music
Yes,
festival.
I was like, how is he
Oh
sitting
my
with
God,
my